Hey, it's Cesar. I hope it's not too late.
Mandela Catalogue Volume 1 by Mandela Catalogue entails the story of unidentified entities which are referred to as alternates. They are referred as such as they are able to take over their victim's life, take their form and shape, remove the knowledge of them ever existing by tampering with time and space, and spread and target anyone else who learns about them. Hi folks, I'm R, your narrator. You can consider following me on Twitter, where I occasionally post, and where you can send me video suggestions.
We are currently receiving countless reports of an unidentified hostile organism that we'll refer to as alternates.
The United States Department of Temporal Phenomena reports on a sinister threat that they have recently discovered, broadcasting the report in an infomercial type of style recorded in 1981. Temporal phenomena is the idea of events occurring within or outside the bounds of time, which can also impact or influence natural flow of time. Whatever this department is, it focuses on matters that are beyond anyone's understanding or comprehension. A matter that can impact and influence the nature of understanding, shaping them and reforming them, moving to the known or unknown past, and the limitless numbers of possibilities in the future. The robotic reporter explains that they have been receiving many reports of unidentified organisms that they refer to as alternates for a variety of reasons. It explains that targeted individuals must lock themselves in their house and have a loaded firearm ready at hand to protect themselves. Alternates look identical to targeted victims, and at times, they have impossible physical characteristics such as long arms, elongated faces, or simply being shapeless, as if they are morphing into something. Victims are instructed to refrain from communicating with them at all costs and hide from them in case they break into the house, portraying how little the authorities know of them. Alternates are explained to use psychological warfare to take control of their victims, as if they are capable of controlling time, making the victim succumb to insanity, a type of weapon that is yet not understood by the simple minds of humans. The tape then skips to a quick-to-remember strategy known as the think principle. T is to tell authorities about an encounter, something that will prove to be useless in the later years. H is to hinder the alternate's movement, possibly by locking all doors and preventing the alternate from infiltrating in and taking over a household. I is to identify the type of the alternate, and is to neutralize the alternate by using weapons if possible and safe to do so, yet again a measure taken due to ignorance and not fully understanding these entities. All of a sudden, the tape somehow becomes corrupted with K being to kill oneself, as there wouldn't be enough room for two of a person. This displays the limitless powers of alternates, who can even manipulate tapes and broadcasts, a way they can drive victims to insanity and controlling their minds. The tape then quickly goes back to normal with K being for knowing oneself in reality, confirming that these entities can control the minds of victims about their reality. The tape then quickly skips into explaining about 3 different classified types of alternates, which seem to be the same entity in 3 different stages of transformation. Type 1 is known as the doppelganger, who are almost identical to their victims. Type 1 seems to be the completed form of the alternate who is ready to take over the victim's life. Type 2 is removed from the broadcast, seemingly being the tampering of the alternates, which is something that is found in different tapes when it was earlier broadcasted, known as detectables. Type 2 seems to be the most obvious one, transforming visibly in front of the eyes. And finally, Type 3, which is not yet labeled, seems to be the earlier stages of alternates who have identified their victims and are in the process of shaping themselves into them. They can often be deformed, shapeless, and have biologically impossible characteristics. A new tape is then played, showing an example of 2 victims who were targeted by the alternates. The 2 victims are called Cesar and Mark Heathcliff. Cesar informs his friend, Mark, that he is heading to ER as his mother suddenly passed out after letting out a loud scream. Cesar presumes that she must have seen something, causing her to faint in shock. Mark asks if he locked the windows and doors just as how the broadcast instructed them, which Cesar explains that he did. Cesar asks Mark to go to his house and turn on the cameras he installed a while ago after being robbed, as he's unsure if someone is actually trying to break in. Mark explains he would do it, but he feels wrong in Cesar's house, therefore he would get out soon after. The tape has a strange interference with Cesar's face transforming into a menacing image, and then the tape goes back to normal. It's evident that the infomercial has been broadcasted publicly for a while now, since 1981, with many people being instructed to stay safe and locking their doors, and be prepared in case of an encounter. However, some elements of the broadcast have been altered and tampered with, something that people do not find a fault with, as if their minds have been adapted to it, forgetting their reality, accepting the alterations within the tapes. Despite the broadcast being shown publicly for a while on a regular basis, it seems people don't really pay much mind to it, as Cesar dismisses the tragic and real possibility of his mother being controlled by an alternate, saying that she might have seen something, like an intruder, but playing it down. Mark, soon after the call, goes to Cesar's house and turns on the cameras, leaving the house right after without hesitation. After a few hours, the cameras detect motion at 3:31 a.m. with the door in the hallway and a sheet-looking cover moving. Then subsequently at 5:34 a.m., the cameras start recording due to a shift in sound, with a woman screaming, not recognizing someone who's seemingly approaching her. Suddenly, the audio cuts off, with the images of Cesar and Mark getting deformed. Mark starts recording himself with a home camera, dated 13th of September 1992, roughly 11 years after the broadcast about the alternates, informing Cesar that an alternate followed him home from Cesar's house. A menacing voice from outside his bedroom calls to Mark, mimicking human sounds while glitching at times, trying to lure Mark outside, promising him gifts and saying that it won't hurt him.
Let me in, Mark. I have a gift for you. I have a present. I have a surprise. I will not hurt.
Mark, who has seen and studied the broadcast carefully, knows that he shouldn't interact with the entity, mentioning that he doesn't want to see what's on the other side of the door, fully ignoring the calls. However, after calling emergencies for help several times and not getting any help for 2 days, he starts breaking and leaves the room with the alternate laughing. Mark takes his handgun and shoots, following the instructions of the broadcast, with him suddenly being found dead on his bed while holding his handgun. It's not clear if Mark shot himself or somehow, despite shooting at the alternate, he ended up dying himself. The alternate is then seen slowly taking the shape of Mark, taking his identity and life, with the real Mark being forgotten and wiped from everyone's memory, as if this incident didn't happen at all. An eerie audio is then played, displaying how Mark couldn't get through anyone using his phone after several calls. It seems as if the alternate was also controlling the aspects of the landline.
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again. If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.
However, the twisted and sinister nature of emergency services not responding is soon revealed. A police training tape is then played, which is clearly mentioned to be targeted for authorized personnel and to be punishable by law if anyone unauthorized watches it. The tape displays that emergency dispatchers are trained to provide services to citizens who ask for fire, police, or healthcare departments. However, they are specifically instructed not to help a caller reporting an alternate encounter, no matter how severely they scream for help. Instead, the dispatchers are told to lie to the callers and falsely reassure them that help is on the way. They are further instructed to end the call when the caller stopped responding to the dispatchers, in a way making sure that they have died and that the alternates have taken over. The dispatchers are then strictly ordered to hang up as soon as the caller stops responding and not to talk too much, as they might accidentally reveal their fear, with a robotic voice recording going on a loop saying, "Nothing is worth the risk.
Nothing is worth the risk, nothing is worth the risk, nothing is worth the risk."
This explains why no help was sent to Mark after 2 days of being trapped in his room with an alternate outside of his room. Apparently, after battling the alternates for almost a decade since 1981, the authorities learned that they are no match for the almighty alternates, and it's better to let them take over their targeted victims, as if they interfere, they would risk their own lives and many more, with the alternates seemingly able to spread. The authorities kept this training tape highly classified, understandably, as it would cause an outrage in public. They simply decided to move on and dismiss the major issue of alternate invasion and control, as although it happens regularly, it doesn't happen on a mass scale to threaten the entire population. Alternates seemingly act like parasites and take over a host, discarding of their bodies, identity and existence, with public carrying on as normal, as if nothing happened. That's why Cesar dismissed the idea of an alternate invasion when his mother passed out screaming. A menacing line instructing the dispatchers to avoid talking too much, as their fear could be sensed, portrays the idea that alternates can infiltrate and infect their hosts or targeted victims by sensing their fear. Hence why victims were instructed in the original broadcast to avoid interacting with alternates. Still, they're not understood even slightest and what they are truly capable of. The video then skips to a toddler stress assessment tape, which records one's child responses to certain media. Certain audio clips are played, quickly being corrupted and switching to another tape. This points out the horrifying powers of alternates, who even take over children's lives, replacing them, growing up in the society as if they are normal human beings, with no one batting an eye. The full footage of child's assessment tape is available on another video from Mandela Catalogue, which portrays the tragedy of one case when a child was replaced. The corruption indicates that the alternates tampered with it as well, removing the knowledge that they're capable of doing such acts to children as well, with them seemingly planning to alter the entire broadcast soon enough, removing the knowledge of them ever existing. The tape then shows a story written by a 4-year-old child who becomes worried about his dad who didn't tuck him in bed that night and didn't check under his bed. The child explains that he set out to go to his mother's room, passing by the dark room by the stairs, located in a strange and badly architecturally built place, after hearing some scary knocks. The child then sees a man in the corner when he suddenly says that he went to sleep right after, as if nothing strange happened at all. This further explains the time and temporal phenomenon manipulative powers of the alternates, who change their victims' perception to anything strange, and the horrifying sightings, able to easily infiltrate and take one's life. Through some other videos present in Mandela Catalogue, the origins of the alternates alongside some other information is explained in an ambiguous manner. Alternates have existed since the beginning, with its first origins dating back to Roman times, with one taking the form of a biblical angel. They can manipulate the understanding of time and the natural flow of it, hence why people, although regularly targeted by them, they forget that those things ever happened, until a footage is created in 1981, which yet again becomes altered by the alternates. Even though people try to understand them, the time is manipulated by them, as they can do things outside of the confines of time, making people forget to the point that the government even tries to dismiss this ever occurring, preventing emergency personnel from responding to such threats, just letting it happen, as they cannot overcome them. Mandela Catalogue had a lot of people speaking and how horrifying and creative it was, but I never truly went with the hype and watched it just recently. Sitting through this petrifyingly beautiful video, I felt shivers running down my spine, and I'm happy to tell you that the story is much deeper and more videos are to come out. Volume 1 acted as an introduction, and I can't wait to watch more. Great job, Mandela Catalogue, or Alex Kester. Sorry if I'm not saying your name correctly. If you guys enjoyed this video, you can stay tuned for more by hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your host Dar, and as always, have a fantastic day.